Well, that scene and the song sort of takes us to the music and why it's so important to the movie. Talk about how important it was to you and how integral to the story, and how specific you were in writing these scenes and writing this music.
I'm a dork, and this is like movies and music. It's sort of like my favorite things. And when we were writing about a relationship, I mean, I feel like I've said this before. Like every relationship in the world that you all have has a soundtrack, and you have your song that you first dance to, and you have all the, music plays a huge part in this stuff. So it would have been inauthentic to not acknowledge that there's music. So I didn't want to write what you're supposed to do when you write screenplays is not tell the director what songs to use, and you probably won't be able to afford them anyway. But in this particular case, it was very integral to certain moments and certain scenes, and the elevator scene and like all that stuff sort of happened. So I had to I just wanted to make it as authentic as I could, because when you're sitting around with your significant other, you're probably talking about some kind of pop culture thing, or at least all my friends and I are. And so you talk about TV shows, you talk about movies and music and all that stuff. So it was just a way to make it feel lived in. We talked about at the end of the script before we sent it out for anyone to read it, let's do like an appendix. And we would do an appendix, which would be like the concert tickets, that they went to together, and like, pictures and things like that we wanted to do. We ended up, it was probably a hacky idea, but just to make this feel like as real a situation as we could, because it was kind of based on real stuff. And I always like the realer the better, I always think so.
Well, let's talk about the sort of the business and process of writing, pitching, and selling a script. How long did it take to write the script?
It probably took a year, but with a lot of starts and stops. We ended up writing, I've gone 3 months without writing a word, and then I'll write 45 pages in like a day, like just crazy stuff, depending on how insane I was at that time. We had probably 100 pages that we liked, but we literally had no idea where we were going. It was like a 100-page first act. And if you're not a film student, you're supposed to write like 3 acts, and the first one's 30-ish. The second one is to get you to page 80-something, and then you have your last 25 pages or whatever it is. And we had 100 pages, and we were just starting. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't have a point. Because there was no point. I was sitting there being like, woe is me. Everything's horrible. And then in real life, I found out that this girl, second girl, got engaged very quickly after. And it was like, bullshit. No way. But then B, wait a minute, that's very interesting. Because this was somebody who almost convinced me that there was no such thing as, true love and all that stuff. And she really worked her way in my brain. I was like, screw all that stuff. I'm just gonna have lots of sex. I'm giving up on romance. And she somehow managed to find it. And it was really interesting because that was like a kind of a hopeful thing, as horrible as it was at the time. And I realized that that's the movie. Like the movie was not that, this person is the one or any of that stuff. It's just like the moment in which you say there's no such thing, you realize that there's no such thing as no such thing. And that's life. And it was kind of a cool thing. And wrote it real quickly after, and then we were like, I came up with the ending, which some people like and I like. I don't know if everybody likes it. And it was just sort of like, I don't know, it made sense. It took a year to figure that out because another real thing had to happen. 'Cause I have no imagination, basically. And another real thing had to happen for me to figure out where I was going with the script.
What do you mean no imagination? You were an architect in the movie.
That's the only fiction involved in the whole thing.
And so I guess you're thankful that she found someone and got engaged.
Yes.
That feels great.
That's good for her.
It gave you closure.
That's a good thing. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I think it's really good. It's very important.
Talk about